Wolverhampton Wanderers have done the double over Tottenham for the first time since 2010, and today we're going to be taking a look at what they did so well to get yet another victory over the newly reformed Spurs. If you are new to the channel, please make sure that you subscribe, you like the video, and you turn on those notifications so you don't miss anything coming up. But now, let's get into it. Recently, we did a video about how Gary O'Neill has transformed Wolverhampton Wanderers, their style of play and the way they want to go forwards, and just the mentality that's flowing through the club. And I think he's really done a number on Tottenham yet again. As I said before, this is the first time that Wolves have done the double over Tottenham since 2010, but the manner in which Wolves are performing in these games are far greater than when they played previously. Wolves won this game by 2-1, and it would be easy to look at the attacking momentum bar and think that Wolves were lucky and that they just barely took their chances, and considering Tottenham had most of the momentum, most of the possession, that Wolves were hanging in there, and I don't really think that would be the case. If we have a look at the lineups, I think a tactical incision of where Gary O'Neill has put his players and the tactics involved with the way they want to go forwards has really exploited a big weakness that is in this Tottenham Hotspur side, especially at home. So we can see that they're set up here, but in the way that Tottenham like to play and go forwards, they've got Emerson Royal and Ben Davies coming into a more central role. This is to give them further control of the football in the middle of the pitch and then utilise the pace out wide of Son, Kulusevski to then go back into Richarlison and Maddison, creating different opportunities and different overloads in certain scenarios. I think Gary O'Neill has looked at this and really given a lot of reliance and a lot of, not pressure, but a real certainty onto Aït-Nouri and Semedo to be able to go forwards and utilise the wide areas that are exposed by the fullbacks of Tottenham coming inside. And I think this is highlighted in the players' average position. So this is Tottenham. This is Tottenham going forwards, and as you can see, naturally they hold a very high line. I think the counter-attack has always been something that's really been on offer for teams when playing against Tottenham, but they haven't been able to exploit the wide areas, in particular the fullbacks, against Spurs too easily. Emerson Royal's coming into midfield, and this is Ben Davies, again almost operating as central midfielders. But if you look at the space that's left behind Ben Davies in particular and Emerson Royal, Gary O'Neill, I think, will have seen this and utilised his wing-backs to be able to go forwards. We know that Semedo and Aït-Nouri are very good at traversing up and down the pitch. Their ability and their pace to really isolate pockets and just bucket loads of space in behind. It just means that Wolves always have an option for a counter-attack, and there are a number of scenarios in this game where Wolves either should have or could have made a lot more of the chances that they had. If we have a look at the Wolves players, we can see that they're very spread apart, very equal amounts. Semedo's going up and down the pitch, and so is Aït-Nouri, utilising and really exploiting the space that is left by Tottenham. They didn't decide to go down the middle of the pitch. One thing I really want to mention is that Pedro Neto is so far forwards, really penetrating the space in behind, utilising his ability off of the ball to make runs in beyond, pushing that Tottenham backline back a little bit more. Of course, one of the goals was a header from João Gomez, and the other one was a brilliant piece of play from Neto. We'll get to that a little bit later. But I thought the Tottenham defended very, very well. João Gomez had the most tackles out of anyone in a Wolves shirt, and it really did go to show that him and Lamina did a very good job of stopping Tottenham going through the middle. If we have a look at where Tottenham ended up, they almost hit a brick wall here in terms of their average positions, not being able to penetrate in beyond this back three. And then you've got the pressure from Gomez and Lamina to really stop them in the middle of the park. Utilising their pace out wide with Semedo and Aït-Nouri, they managed to exploit the spaces that was left by Tottenham's fullbacks. It was a really well orchestrated piece of tactical work, and I think that Wolves deserve a lot of credit for this. If we have a look at the statistics, it does go to show that Wolves deserve to win the game, if I'm honest. we have a look at 1.75 XG for Wolves, 1.62 for Tottenham. Again, not really creating clear-cut opportunities. 71% possession. Now, this is the thing that a lot of people will argue with. Wolves only had 29%, but Wolves have shown themselves to have been very, very resolute without the ball. And then utilising their pace in beyond with the space that's left behind Tottenham to be able to exploit and damage that Tottenham back line. 7 shots on target to Tottenham's 4. Wolves were in the ascendancy for most of the game, very comfortable with the game plan that Gary O'Neill had given them. And once you see that they had some opportunities, once it got into the players' minds that they were able to exploit Tottenham in this way, it became very easy for them to sit a little bit deeper, to be able to hold on to possession when they needed to, and then to also transition in such a dangerous way. I was extremely impressed by the way that Wolves went forwards. And we see here 748 passes, but what did they do with those passes? Not a great deal. 300 passes for Wolves. Tottenham had double the amount of passes, and yet their XG was lower. Their attempts on goal were lower. Wolves had 38 clearances, but again, how much of that was real danger? How much of that was really being put under pressure? Dejan Kulusevski's goal, I'd argue, wasn't exactly... It was a piece of brilliance, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it was exactly something that Tottenham orchestrated. So, in my mind, I think Wolves did a real good tactical job on defending against Tottenham. I think Gary O'Neill got it absolutely spot on, utilising his players' strengths and really honing in on Tottenham's weaknesses. It was yet another display of a manager that I feel in the beginning of the season had really been written off by so many people. He's proving them wrong time after time again. It was truly a brilliant performance for Wolves that in my mind was thoroughly deserved. Before we end, let's take a look at a couple of in-game moments to really highlight what I'm talking about. First of all, this is an attempt at Tottenham traversing up the pitch, putting the ball up to Richarlison, but he's met by the aggression of Dawson. And this is something I really wanted to highlight because it just shows Wolves' compatibility in this side. And I think that they did a really good job of making sure they were aggressive and touch tight, while also having defenders ready to come round and cover. Again, this is on a transition that Tottenham are trying to do, putting the ball up to Richarlison and then recycling it round. But Dawson doesn't allow this, and instead, Wolves regain possession and are able to really utilise the space on this right-hand side to be able to go forwards. It creates a great goal-scoring opportunity for Hwang Hee-chan after the rebound comes in from Semedo. But just look at the amount of space that Sarabia has around these Tottenham players. And this is because Tottenham weren't set and Tottenham weren't ready. This comes from the aggression that Dawson had in the initial phase of play, and he's just able to pop it into Semedo, who takes a shot. It gets deflected, but Hwang Hee-chan really does need to score. He's right here. He's the only person moving. This Tottenham line is trying to be held. He might have been offside, possibly, but in the end, he doesn't hit the target, and it goes as a wasted chance. Now let's take a look at, again, Dawson. Here he is about to kick the ball. He's utilising his range of passing to pass it over to the right-hand side and really isolate Semedo versus Ben Davies in a 1v1 situation. Look at that raking pass. Semedo is controlling the ball over here. Davies is nowhere near him, and all of a sudden Wolves are on the transition. Wolves are ready to go forwards, and this is because of the width that it's held by both of the wing-backs. Tottenham just weren't ready to deal with this, and in one pass they have essentially isolated 3 or 4 different players and just removed them from the game. Again, like I said, a 1v1 situation between him and Davies. He decides not to play it and instead to play Sarabia into the middle of the pitch. Again, penetrating runs, diverse runs, the ability to go from out to in. Again, this is another opportunity that was saved, and Vicario actually ended up making more saves than Jose Sarr did, and this is a testament to the way that Wolves play. Direct, quality, just incisive passing, and the ability and the confidence to be able to take those pieces of space, to take those pockets of space in different scenarios. Finally, let's take a look at the goal. So we can see here there are a number of Tottenham players come up for a corner. This is again another phase of play of transition. We have Romero is currently on the floor, we have Richarlison, we have Ben Davies, and we have Mickey van der Ven. Now, when they get to challenging for the ball, it's the Wolves players who end up winning the pass. It's the Wolves players who end up converting their opportunity and are able to go forwards. Just look at Pedro Neto and Sarabia, ready to go forwards, ready to go, ready to make that play. It's going to be played into him and he's going to be on his bike, ready to go. And then all of a sudden you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another one here. 5 Tottenham players sprinting back towards their own goal from their own corner. Now this is something that I think Gary Neville would have worked on, utilising the pace of Pedro Neto, being able to utilise the spaces on the right and left hand sides. In this particular instance, Pedro Neto is exploiting Ben Davies' space out on this Tottenham left hand side, the Wolves right hand side, and he does it to brilliant effect. He moves into the penalty area, lines up against Emerson Royale. He's able to chop back, and can he get his head up? That's the big question next. Can he get his head up? Yes, he can. He turns, chops inside, and then he's going to play a pass into Joao Gomez, who rifles it perfectly. He gets his head up very, very well. Joao Gomez rifles it into the net. A brilliantly worked counter-attack, something that I'm sure Gary Neville would have been working on in training, something that he will have told his players to do, and it comes off a treat. Gary Neville is just brilliant, and he's got one over on Tottenham yet again. But these Wolves players need to be given a lot of credit as well for taking everything on board. This is a team in form. This is a team who knows how to exploit weaknesses, and that's what I think is Gary Neville's main strength. His ability to analyse opposition and then cater his own side to be able to exploit their weaknesses. A brilliant performance, a brilliant piece of play, and it's exciting for what could be next for Wolverhampton Wanderers. But let me know what you guys think about the result and about Wolves as a whole. I would love to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learnt something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.